Lagley by Neal Mason. It's thieves like him give prisons a bad name. All the same, these amateurs make me sick. No pride in their work. It's like everything nowadays, sloppy. No standards. Can you find a safecracker who knows his chub from his Yale? When I was young, he'd know to a milligram how much explosive to use. Nowadays they slap it on like plastering a wall. Instead of blowing the lock, they blow up half the bank. It costs more in explosives than they get from the safe. Or it would do if the explosives weren't nicked. You've only got to look at him. He's a kid, that's all. They don't want to know about apprenticeships these days. Straight out and earn some money. You try to teach them, but it's no use. He could learn so much from an expert like me. First, he steals a getaway car. A larder. Best in the car park, he said. What would arrest reliance? Anyway, having opened it with his lock-picking equipment, a 4-pound lump hammer, he begins to wire up the ignition. Half an hour later, with half the wiring loom dismantled, he's managed to make the wipers and hazard lights work. You can imagine it. And I wish I had. Wires everywhere. Car looking like a dishevelled hedgehog. These kids know nothing. They won't listen. The funny thing is, he's always got his nose in a book. How does he think I reached the top? Well, not by reading, that's for certain. I watched. I listened. I copied. It takes time. And a little more subtlety than a lump hammer. When I pull a job, Scotland Yard goes into a panic. I'm only inside because of bad luck. He gets the car going, eventually. I was trusting enough to leave him to it. Should have known better. Simon's always been unreliable, just like his mother. She gave birth to him in marks and sparks. It wouldn't have mattered, but she was robbing the place at the time. She's a shoplifter. They could hardly get to the baby for all the nicked baby clothes under her coat. Well, while Simon's pinching the car, I'm up to my neck in cold water. In a water tank, in an attic. And where's the attic? On top of the Amman Gallery. Clever, huh? I'd walked in as an ordinary fee-paying visitor. Already wrecked the place, of course, like the thorough professional that I am. The next bit took a matter of seconds. I climbed on a chair in an empty corridor, then disappeared through the attic hatch. But I'm smart, see. Not like Simon, despite his reading. I realised the security guards might check the attic when the gallery closes. But they'd never think to look in the water tank. Especially as it's January and 5 degrees below freezing. Now, Simon doesn't really have the brain for crime, to be honest. He's not thick. He doesn't have the razor-sharp perception, the finesse. The kids won't be told. So, here I am, in the tank. Now, it's not what you'd call pleasant, but determination marks out the men from the boys. I raise my arm to check my watch, being careful, of course, not to make any noise while cracking the surface ice. Only an hour to go. I met his mother at Pwllheli Butlins. She was a chambermaid. I was on a working holiday. Holiday in that I booked in as a resident, working in that I was pillaging the place. Rifled chalets while holidaymakers were sunbathing or entering knobbly knees contests. That's how I met her. She caught me ransacking her room. And what a gold mine that was! Jewellery, cameras, radios by the dozen. Could have been awkward, mine, but I got her talking. She was on holiday too, from shoplifting. She fell for me straight away, of course. The hour in the tank passes very slowly. It's all I can do to climb out. I lurch towards the attic hatch, but with no feelings in my feet and legs, I step between the rafters. The plaster shatters like ice. Hurtling down, I admire a sunny landscape in oils. As I'm descending the stairwell, my appreciation of it is rather brief. In crime, as in life, resilience is what counts. That's the difference between me and Simon, see? Just because I've fractured a leg, and the burglar alarms are deafening, and I'm purple with cold, it don't mean my plan's gone wrong. I'd known all along the alarms would sound the moment I appeared. It's simply a matter of time, of gathering masterpieces quickly. Hopping as fast as possible, I climb the stairs. I make straight for a cannelloni. I take out my penknife to cut the oil painting from its frame. I can't open the blade. It's not my numb fingers, it's obviously shoddy workmanship. Cheap, foreign junk should be banned, no standards. Throwing the useless penknife aside, I take the next painting to it, remove its glass and frame, and hurry to the next masterpiece, a tortellini. Must hurry now. Stopping only to sneeze, I hop over to a priceless tagliatelle. Flame off, glass off and tucked it under my arm. That's my lot. Now there's no sense in being greedy. What I've got must be worth thousands. See, that's the difference between a real professional and the others. Knowing when to stop. It's all a matter of judgment. The bout of sneezing is a problem. It's not my fault, of course, just one of those things. It's a delay I could do without. Have you tried sneezing and hopping at the same time? It's not possible. Once for a wish, twice for a kiss, 3 times for something better. What do you get for 25? Finally, the sneezes stop, and I bounce down the stairs, feeling a bit like Zebedee. The alarms seem more urgent. I open the gallery door, and there's our getaway car, the larder. At least there are no police cars, yet. 5 hops, and I'm in the car. Simon finds the ignition key, fastens his seatbelt, adjusts the mirror, indicates to pull out, and at last we're going, on 3 cylinders. Simon, I say, I don't want to sound hypercritical, it being your first job and that, but every alarm bell in the world's clanging. Now, I didn't expect Formula 1, but optimist that I am, I expected more than 5 miles an hour. And why are the wipers and hazard lights on? Could you manage just a fraction more speed? Or shall I get out and hop? And you can catch me up later on. It isn't long before we hear police sirens. Now, it's bad enough when the police give chase on foot. It's worse when D.I. Fowler opens the door, a huge grin on his face. Hello, Bagley. And where are you off to in such a hurry? It's humiliating. It's degrading. Man in my position. A respectable leader of the criminal fraternity, and I'm unable to answer him. Partly because I'm sneezing and shivering violently. So here I am. It's all due to bad luck and Simon's incompetence. Not that he cares. All he does is lie on his bunk and read. It's all he ever wanted to do. Says I forced him to be my accomplice. His mother agrees and blames me for the fiasco, would you believe? You do your best for someone, you try to put them on the right lines, and this is what you get. As an idea, the robbery was a work of art. As for the art itself, well, bad luck played a part there too. Couldn't take the paintings I'd intended. The paintings I took were watercolours. And because I'd hugged them close to me and I'd taken them out of their frames and my clothes were sopping wet. But I'm too resilient to be disheartened for long. Lots of great men are like that. The because this big job I've got in mind, it's very hush-hush, of course. Don't know much about it myself yet. All I'll say is, it's in London this time. Kensington, actually, the Somerton Albert. It's a museum, you know. Now, when Simon and I get out, if I can train him in the use of explosives...